Mm-hmm. Hi, everybody. I think we're live.
Good evening from London. So unusually, well, not unusually, I suppose it's every other weekend we're in London.
Maybe. You were up and down last week 3 times in 7 days, or was it 4?
Do you know what? It's been 4 times that I've been up and down to Dorset or to Winchester, where we've just picked up Nesta from school today and brought him back to London for the weekend.
For the weekend,
He goes to a boarding school, so he gets a couple of weekends each term where he gets to come back to London, and as well as...
So we get to have dinner with him tonight. We're very, very excited.
We are.
Yeah, we're very excited.
And then it's a special day tomorrow.
And then it's I was about to say it's Nestor's birthday tomorrow. It's Luke's birthday tomorrow. So we'll actually have Nestor home. William obviously goes to school in London, and Emma goes to school now in London. And Emma will be coming home momentarily because she works part-time at our local cafe here in London. She's one of the supervisors. And so we're all going to have a special lunch for you. We just won't have Jack, but we'll FaceTime him.
Don't give anything away, because I don't yet know what the plans are. Anyway, this evening, we've got Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
We've got Nancy.
From Los Angeles. Love it.
Hello, Nancy.
Hi, Nancy.
And we've got Parrick.
Hey, Parrick.
Who we know is in Ireland.
That's right. And we've got Sally.
From North Carolina. So not a huge number of you, which makes this a rather more intimate Q&A than usual. So you all get to ask whatever questions you like. And there are some up on the screen.
Yeah. And also we need to go to Patreon. You need to click on Patreon because it comes through Patreon as well.
You're quite right. Where do I do that? Right.
So just go to Patreon.
So I do that on another.
Sorry,
another thing.
and I'll just go to Patreon.
Okay.
So we both had our boosters today. So if you just go to posts, and go to publish. There we go. So there might be questions there. So we just both had separately, because he's over 50 and I'm not over 50 yet. So he's had his...
Thanks for giving it away.
He's had his booster booked in for a while, but because over here in the UK, they are massively ramping up boosters because of the new variant, that anybody over 18 years and older who has had 3 months now between their second dose, and a booster can get it. So it used to be 6 months, and then they allowed it 40-year-olds just last week, and that was 5 months, and now they've opened it up to everybody. So you did left arm, didn't you? We were separate. We went to 2 different places. But I did right arm because I felt like I did 2 in here that I wanted to even out the muscle.
We can barge into each other without causing problems.
That worked out really well. Perfect. So
anyway,
are there any questions on Patreon?
Well, not that I could see, or at least not so far. But I thought we could give a couple of...
You've got both of them up, yeah?
Of little updates.
Just go to posts really quickly.
Yeah,
go to scheduled or go to publish,
There's another one there. So there's 2.
Yeah, go to that one.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything on there yet.
Oh, okay.
So I think everybody at the moment is watching through YouTube, but we will...
To Patreon and ask a question there as well. We'll see it. We've got both of them up. Just do it on the latest post.
Great. We've got Penny has joined us. Hello,
hey, Penny. Representing Seattle. Amazing.
And we've got Lorraine.
Hey, Lorraine. Seattle as well. Oh my gosh, we've got 2 of you from Washington.
So Parrick has asked the question, which was something we were going to talk about anyway, which was how was the Christmas market? And I would say the Christmas market was a storming success.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was our first one. It was beautifully organised by Charlotte. We had how many stalls?
22 in the end.
22, and it was full.
Full.
There were streams of cars coming.
And unbelievable.
In fact, we had to turn people away. Well, at least online, we stopped people from buying tickets for the morning. But anyone who turned up, I think we allowed.
So it was a huge, we'd rather have that problem that it was a huge success with so many people than having to sit here and say no one turned up. So I think it exceeded everybody's expectations. And we've taken away some really good, there was feedback for next year.
There were a couple of teething
problems, but you're going to have that for the first
some
one.
people waited slightly longer for their coffee than they should have. I did hear about one chap who, it was more than a few minutes. Let's put it like that. But here was the other exciting thing, was, I mean,
But it went
obviously
brilliantly.
there's going to be an update on that in this Sunday.
Yeah, you'll see it. We
episode,
filmed
so
it for you.
You'll see that.
You'll see me.
But
And
walking around with Julie, what's really interesting at Mapperton is that so many people are now watching Julie either on American Viscountess or Mapperton Live or on her previous show. So she just gets mobbed. I don't get mobbed. You get
no,
mobbed.
but can I say that it's definitely more because of YouTube than Smithsonian Channel. 100%.
Yeah.
More people are watching. It's amazing because the YouTube reach is international. So it was absolutely extraordinary. I've never had this before, and I've been on 2 previous TV shows where sort of it was hit or miss if I would be in this, around at Mapperton of people, but I was slightly bombarded, which is a good thing. It was good.
It was a good thing.
It was a good thing.
And everybody giving their opinions. Other things that have been going on, the really big exciting project, as many of you know, is this rewilding project at Mapperton.
Yeah.
And we've come up with a name. I'm not sure whether we've said this before, but I'm interested in people's feedback. We were weighing up whether to call it Wild Mapperton, Wilder Mapperton, Mapperton Wild. That was another idea. It's important to have the word wild in there because all the different rewilding projects across England are trying to link together with that word.
Yeah.
And we've come up with Mapperton Wildlands. No.
Lens, plural, sorry.
Plural.
Mapperton
Wildlands. And the reason it's wildlands is partly because it's happening in 3 different parts of the estate. So it's not all one contiguous area. It's in 3 different areas. And wildlands is rather kind of evocative. It makes you think of a kind of African plain that you might sort of walk into and meet unexpected animals. Of course, the animals that you'll meet at Mapperton are a lot tamer than the sort that you might meet in the Serengeti. But nevertheless, thrilling and exciting.
I did a thumbs down for Mapperton Wild because I thought it could mean like party, festival.
Go wild at Mapperton.
So
well, there will be a bit of that. So that's exciting, and we're starting to kind of you don't know this, but we're starting to get on the map.
I learned a whole bunch on these live Q&As
of all the different rewilding projects here. So we might have a rewilding conference coming up at Mapperton. I hosted a regenerative agriculture seminar about 10 days ago at Mapperton, where we had lots of farmers coming and learning,
I couldn't come. I was
learning
there.
about what's called regen for the first time. So this is all going well.
Should we answer some questions?
Let's answer some questions. Right. So Jennifer's at the top. What are our Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day family traditions? Do you want to go for that one?
Yeah. So I think it's firstly and foremost over here stockings. So one of the things I had to learn quite quickly was that stockings. Well, not even quite quickly. He kind of won the argument, if you like. It wasn't really an argument that stockings are not hung. On the chimney or over the mantle, if you like. I should say over the mantle. They're not hung over the mantle over here. They're actually put the night before at the end of your bed. And in fact, those are all the presents that Father Christmas, aka Santa Claus, gives the children. The only presents that Santa Claus, Father Christmas, gives the children are in the stocking. So we would put the stockings, and our kids, by the way, are okay because they know that we're now Father Christmas, but we put the stockings at the end of the bed. We know that they were asleep. We would take the stockings, fill them with all the presents from Father Christmas, and then put them back at the end of the bed so that in the morning they woke up, they would have presents from Father Christmas. And that's totally different from me in America, whereas, the presents under the tree were from Santa Claus, as well as the stockings that were hanging, over the fire, over on the mantle. And so that was a big one. And then the presents under the tree over here, at least in our family, they're from family members, friends.
So you're talking about the differences between
I think
things.
That's quite interesting.
And I think we have a sort of blend of American traditions and English traditions. Mm-hmm. So Christmas Eve, Christmas Eve is just a quiet day usually. And Christmas Eve, the ham will often come out in the evening as being the first time that
He eats the ham.
She doesn't obviously eat the ham. No. And so we'll have a sort of evening meal together, usually just us, maybe some other family if we've got people staying.
I think we usually have some other family members,
staying.
yeah.
And then on Christmas Day, we will have stockings with the kids first thing in the morning, and
usually
then,
in our bedroom.
And then yes,
Not in front of the tree usually. Do we sometimes?
No. And then we'll have breakfast. Then there'll be church usually. Now this year, I don't think we're having a service in the Mapperton All Saints Church because we couldn't find anybody to hold the service. It's really hard in the UK to find local members of the clergy to hold services because they're all booked up elsewhere. And because All Saints Church isn't a regular church in the sense that it's part of the parish, but it doesn't have a regular service, we don't get the priority. Then we will have a big lunch with everybody in the dining room.
Poppers, we have Christmas pudding. I mean, these are some of the differences. I should do a vlog on this.
You should. This is a good...
The pound coins go into the Christmas pudding. It sets on fire. Because what's the alcohol
we heat brandy.
Yeah.
And we get holly from the woods, holly twig on the top. The whole thing flares up. We try not to burn the house down, but it gets quite close sometimes. Kids scramble to find the best piece of Christmas pudding with all the £1 coins in it, but obviously fail to eat much of the pudding itself. So that's...
And then we kind of slowly, throughout the day, really open up presents, if you like. Like they might get one before lunch from a family member, and then we'll do family afterwards, usually in the drawing room, but we kind of changed it last year.
Well, we did, but I think we might go back to the drawing room. So the drawing room, one of the times that we really use the drawing room traditionally has been Christmas. Yeah. With all the presents under the tree. And then we all have tea. We have Christmas cake, which is usually made by Beryl. Beryl's housekeeper at Mapperton, and she makes a very fine Christmas cake as well as Christmas pudding. And then it's Boxing Day.
And Christmas pudding takes like 2 months or something? What is it?
Well, it can take a long time.
Your sister was making it. And then, but so Boxing Day, that is when we're actually having service in the church on Boxing Day.
Yeah, this year
because it falls on a Sunday.
Because it falls on a Sunday, and we're not. It's going to actually be a carol service in the church, and then we will have people who come to the service back for drinks
in the house
before lunch, and then I think we will have a deep breath, go for a long walk, and
yeah,
on
it's
to
all
the next
about
day.
long walks here. That's something else I learned. Okay. Long walks.
By the way, Parrick is in Ocean City. He's not in Ireland at all.
Oh my gosh, you're in Ocean City, Maryland at the moment. What are you doing there? Text below. What are you doing there?
Tell us what you're doing. And then
we missed a question up here. Go to the top.
Right,
there we
Nancy,
go.
That's right. Do we have cottages that we rent out for a week at a time on our property? We have one at the moment, but we're going to have many more. So Garden Cottage is on Airbnb, and if you search Mapperton on Airbnb, it's quite easy to find it. But there is also a link on our website, though I happen to have checked for another reason earlier today, and it wasn't there. So the link will go back up. But Garden Cottage, which is the lovely cottage just down from the house, overlooks the garden. It's got 3 bedrooms, very comfortable, and that rents out for a week.
Yes.
Or more, or less. Right. We've got John maybe here as well.
Fantastic.
Say hi to John.
Hello, John.
And John, by the way, eventually we think that Mythe will form part of Mapperton Wildlands. It won't be in there initially, but we're in discussions with the tenants of the area, of that part of the estate, to see if we can start to include a little bit more land in this project, because ultimately we want the rewilded area, or Mapperton Wildlands, to be about 1,000 acres, a really substantial piece of land that is given over to nature with lots of interesting animals, including beavers. Nancy says, can she send us all our beavers? Nancy, you absolutely could. The only thing is that American beavers and what are called Eurasian beavers are a different species. They look absolutely identical, but we're not supposed to have American beavers. But if you smuggle one over, we probably wouldn't say no.
Listen,
and then piggy pudding, that's right, do you remember?
I know.
Let's tease her
piggy
about
pudding. I did all these things, right? So then...
Penny likes the name for the rewilding area. Okay, excellent. And Penny, one of the things you'll be interested to hear is that we're going to be doing a kind of rebrand of the website over the holidays, or sort of January time, before the new season. And we'll have a whole new Mapperton Wildlands website, which will list all of the different ecotourism elements, all the tours, all the wildlife tours people can go on, all of the associated accommodation. And then we've got this big project at Coltley, which we've spoken about before, which is creating a kind of accommodation hub. It'll sleep up to 40 people eventually. I'm
How
hoping,
many years is that going to take? 4.
Including shepherd huts. How long is it going to take?
Yeah, do we think? To get from beginning to end?
Yeah, I think, fingers crossed, we might launch middle of 2023. So only a year and a half.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes, 44 in the middle of one of the big rewilding projects. So Perrick's working as a food and beverage manager in a hotel on the beach.
Oh, Perrick.
Oh my gosh, that sounds incredible.
Is he in a warm part of the countryside?
He's in Maryland.
So it won't be that warm at the moment?
Not right now. He'll have snow, probably soon, at some point. MD, Maryland. At least I know the initials for my states. So Penny's asked, was I happy with the Diana series? Do you know, Penny, they only sent me the first 2 episodes, and I know that I was in all 6 episodes, but I was really happy with the first 2 episodes, but I did get tremendous feedback. So, and my parents watched every single one, and they were really happy with it. So I think I was happy with it because I haven't had one negative comment about it. In fact, it's all been very positive. So yes.
One of the risks, obviously, Julie doing all of the TV that she does is putting up with negative comments, but none on that.
No, 0.
Yeah. And actually, when you do your commentating, usually you get, unless you're commenting on something slightly controversial, like Meghan Markle, where you'll have people who are one way or the other.
You always have to stay balanced. That's the right thing to do, and that's how I want to be. That's how I am anyway. I'm a yoga teacher and a yogi, and it's all about striking the balance, and in one sense, kind of seeing both sides to it. So, because I think that's important to stay balanced. So yes.
John,
thank you, Penny.
John has said Mythe would definitely work for the rewilding. Any plans for the Mythe cottage remnants? Well, John, it's interesting because, funny enough, my mother brought that up last week, and she said, well, if you've got this plan to convert these buildings at Coltley, what about recreating the village at Mythe? And of course, that would be a wonderful thing to do.
Beautiful.
So there are some practical problems, though, not least the access.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about Mythe, you've only got agricultural tracks and very thin agricultural tracks that lead there. And these days, whenever you put in any kind of new build, you absolutely have to have, reasonable road or track access, as well as all the services. So I wouldn't say it's impossible. I think we'd have some planning issues, because the other thing that I've learned is that where you have a building that is still a building, you can, in a relatively straightforward way, you can get permission to convert it. But where you have a building that is a ruin, it doesn't count as a building from the point of view of planning. So it would be like putting a new building in the countryside. And in our part of Dorset, we're known as an AONB, an area of outstanding natural beauty. And with that designation come all of these different restrictions on what you can and can't do. And one of the big things that you can't do is a new build in the countryside, unless there are absolutely exceptional circumstances. So that would be a question. Interestingly, I'm meeting with a planning consultant quite soon, and I shall ask her that question, and we can then possibly put it on the roadmap for the slightly longer term. But I think before we get to Mythe, we've got things still to do at Marsh Farm after Coltley.
Yes, so
we want to keep Mythe wild and isolated. He's just interested in preserving the ruins. No new builds. Good. I think that's exactly the right answer.
Can you look at Patreon really quickly just to see if we have any questions? I just want to make sure we don't miss out anybody. Yeah, just refresh it.
Because sometimes we have people.
And then go to the other one. Just go to posts, go to published.
Okay.
And then go to the one down below.
Was it that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. No, I think everybody's here.
Because we've given the link as well for YouTube on this one.
Exactly.
Rather than stream, because sometimes we stream it through the actual thing.
Yeah.
So we haven't done that. Just back to beavers quickly. This week was a really important week in the Beaver Project, because we submitted our funding application and our license application. So we're hoping that there's a public fund that will pay for all of the enclosure, which is going to be about £30,000, and then the beavers themselves about another £10,000. So to release beavers into the countryside in England is no small feat financially, which may sound absolutely ridiculous, but I suspect it's going to cost about £40,000 to £50,000 in its first year. And then we're going to kick off with all of the surveying that we need to do of the enclosure area, so that we have a baseline before the beavers do what they do, and then we can look back and look at the various improvements in terms of biodiversity, etc.
Lorraine's asked, we're both so busy. I know. How many hours every week do you work? Do you know? I mean, a lot. That's all I can say.
I don't think we count. Do we count?
No, we don't really count, but it's constant. So, for example, this week we had Sunday, we had the Christmas fair, which was big, and we were, in particular, you went off to visit Nestor, which was to take him to lunch, and but you were there for the morning, and then I was there for the rest of the day, helping man sort of the ticket booth and just helping to clear up tables because we got really busy in the cafe. So, and then that Monday I filmed all day, then left on a train from Crewkern, which is the nearest train station to Mapperton, and went all the way north. I had to take 4 different trains. It took 8.5 hours. Got to the hotel at 10:30 p.m. Was up the next morning, Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. for a Le Chameau film and shoot. So, as you know, Le Chameau sponsors both Mapperton Live and American Viscountess, and so I was part of a big photo shoot and film that they're doing, which I can't say anything about it until it airs. No, not allowed.
To me?
No, I probably can't.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Okay.
And
Super
then
secret.
after that ended at 5-ish. Had to take trains back into London. I was absolutely shattered. Wednesday, I caught up on all admin. I had so much admin to do. So Thursday, then I worked in the morning, and then I thought, I haven't had a weekend off since we went on holiday in October. So I took a half day off and spent it with Emma.
You have had some days off on the weekend.
On Thursday.
We have had some weekend days off.
Weekend days, usually not both days.
No,
though.
probably not both days.
No, not both days.
Partly
one.
because Julie's also because you've got your amazing yoga schedule. So some of you.
So last week, right? So the last weekend when the Mapperton Fair was happening, I had the Mapperton Fair. Then at 4:00, I was ending an online course, a yoga online course that I was running, and that ended at 4. So everybody graduated at 4. Then I taught a live yoga class at 5. And then I went on a live Q&A with Deborah Roberts from ABC News at 8:00. That was Sunday.
Some people might say that Julie layers things on a bit thick with her work and her timetable. I do try to influence this and occasionally suggest to her that she might want to space things out and not commit to like a 9:00 on a Sunday thing after a yoga class
or a master's.
I don't know what other people think,
getting my
think
master's.
about this.
And I had a research day yesterday for my master's. But I do take little pockets out. Like this morning, I did an 1.5-hour yoga class. Sunday night, in between the Q&A with Deborah Roberts and teaching my own live class, I went to an 1.5-hour yin class. So I find pockets of time throughout my day, in particular to do meditation or to do yoga.
So we've got a couple of questions here. Parik is asking how our parents and families are. I think everybody's really quite well at the moment. My mum and dad are well. Your parents are well.
Yep.
Kids are all reasonably well.
I think
at the moment all is
good. So Penny, that's really good to hear that, because Victoria and I. So Penny said, "Love when you go into the historic homes versus only filming on the grounds, like the first few AV episodes. Did the first homes not want interiors filmed?" So it's a really good question, and we are changing that. So we have and I don't want to say yet, but we have secured 4 more homes for next year. And we start filming in early January, a spectacular castle. And we have noticed that as well, Penny, so that people really love the interiors and love when the owners are telling, these sort of stories that you wouldn't get on a tour guide. And in particular, really, Dean's Court, just part of it is open for tours, but William and Allie aren't giving the tours themselves. I don't think, maybe they are, but I don't think they are. So we have, the thing about Eiford Manor and Gardens, we wanted for it to be about the gardens. So we were sort of just finding our way. So we thought, because the gardens were so spectacular and they had just opened up this new restaurant, that we would keep it.
But also some owners are keener than others to open up their house,
and they weren't keen to open up their house either.
So which we have to respect, and which you did in Pentilly, but
Pentilly was a different
sort of
story
thing.
because they're not living there, and they had created it in order to keep it in the family. They've created it into, they rent the castle out for like bed and breakfast and for shoots and for weddings. So they don't live there. So, but now moving forward, we will have, I know the amazing stories from William at Dean's Court, and Dean's Court was so rich with footage, really, that we've created 5 episodes out of Dean's Court because it's the gift that keeps on giving. It was just absolutely wonderful to film there.
Maybe the house that keeps on giving.
Yeah, the house that keeps on giving.
I don't know what the gift that keeps.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Anyway,
I had my vaccine today, so I'm a little bit. Woo.
We both had our vaccine so far. Okay.
I'm feeling a bit tired, to be honest.
But we're okay.
But we're all right. Yeah.
Okay. And
that's amazing, Sally. Thank you.
And the other thing, Penny and Sally, is that last week we had a really good brainstorm around American Viscountess. Lots of thinking in terms of future episodes, styles of filming, locations, new ideas. Tomorrow we got another follow-up on that. So
Monday.
Monday, because that's my birthday tomorrow. And so I think there's going to be lots of exciting new things.
Really exciting. And we'll be doing a video about it.
And they'll play into exactly the things that you were talking about here.
Yeah.
Same is also true of Mapperton Live. So we've been thinking about making some improvements there as well. And we think that we're going to be doing more. But we won't say anything more about that.
No, we won't say anything yet. But we're really excited. The 4 homes that we've secured for American Viscountess so far are.
But this isn't about American.
No, I know. Sorry.
You're slightly stealing our Q&A here.
So
but
thank you, Sally.
You're being asked the questions.
Yeah. Oh, Nancy's asked, is the pool back in order for your swims? I know. I'm desperate to go in there.
The pool is being emptied this week. I'm thinking we're going to be filming that. Mm-hmm. Pool videos seem to do quite well. I don't really understand why, but they do. So I don't know what Julie's going to do. She's going to pull the enormous plug.
It's going to be draining and fixing the 18th century
so you won't be fixing at that point. So
we won't be fixing. We'll have to
spread it out a bit.
Yeah.
And then we get some people in to have a look at the leaks, and the leaks themselves are probably going to take 2 or 3 weeks to drain out, because what happens when you empty this pool is that all the water that has been pushed out through the walls pours back in again, but it takes weeks to stop. Mm-hmm. So we have to wait to do that. Anyway, we're hoping the pool is going to see some big improvements for next year. And if there are, I'll come in too.
And luckily he won't have to break any stairs because they've been mended.
Right.
Perrick said, loved your episode of the Duchess podcast. Oh, thanks, Perrick. No, it was really fun to do. And I think it's a wonderful podcast in celebrating, the women that are also the custodians of these houses as well. So it's a wonderful podcast celebrating that.
So anybody else? Oh, we've got, yes, Penny, your Mapperton updates are great. Seeing the inner workings is really fascinating and a huge reality check. I suspect Penny is referring in particular to the deep intake of breath that occurred when I was told about this barn that needed complete rethatching, a barn that generates absolutely nothing in the way of income, and yet is going to cost an absolute fortune. But this is part, I think it's really important, because part of what we're trying to do here is to demystify what it's like running these places, because on the surface, to so many people, it looks so gilded and fun. But underneath, there are some really quite challenging things that one has to contend with. Mm-hmm. And that was a good example. And actually, since we've taken over Mapperton, every single year, there's been a really big project that's needed doing. The conservatory blew in the storm. We had to replace the orangery, all of the orangery windows. Mm-hmm. We had to put in a whole new water treatment centre at Mapperton, because the council told us that our water wasn't good enough quality, which is just absolute nonsense, because it tastes delicious. Nobody's ever been made ill by Mapperton water.
And then
but
we were
such
supposed
are
to do
the regulations these days.
Yeah, well, anyway, the thatched roof is sort of number one priority and has put other things down the list a little bit, sadly. So we'll just have to wait.
No, I'm doing a bit of juggling actually. So,
okay.
So I think I might do some partial thatching and partial pool fixing.
Okay.
See if we can do that.
Okay.
Anyway, Nesta, can Nesta do some more episodes on winter animals? Really good idea, Sally. Nesta owes us big time because we've been supporting him in his sailing ventures. And the deal for that is that he makes more appearances on Mapperton. He did come on the YouTube Q&A. I don't know if some of you saw that the other day. Unfortunately, on that Q&A, I knocked a button which turned the volume down. So hardly anyone could hear what we were saying.
Well, no, I bet people could hear. They just had to turn the volume up. And then if you didn't watch it live, then ads would come in as they do on YouTube, and then the ads were really loud. Anyway, so Penny's asked, yes,
Quick Italy update.
Quick Italy update. So Italy's slow. So everything for the first floor. The first floor really is just 2 bedrooms and a bath and a half, if you like, a bath and a half. So, but it needs to all be redone, and everything has been ordered. The floors, the tiling for the shower, not the tiling for the bath, but the bath, all the fixtures and hardware, the vanity, the new sink, but so much more to do. But they need to start stripping it out, and that was supposed to.
I just want to go.
That was supposed
I had such a nice time in Italy.
I'm just talking.
I know, but
that was supposed to happen
too much detail.
a few weeks ago.
I just
But
want to know when it's
everything's
finished.
slow, and delivery just all across. I think the world. Deliveries are just slow. So building work was supposed to start.
Basically.
So I'm behind. So I hope that they can start it will probably have to start the first week of January. I think it's going to have to start after Christmas.
Okay.
But I get an update from my builder on Monday. Okay. So
we've got Noah, who's just joined us from Houston. Brilliant, Noah. Loving the Mapperton episodes, especially all the farm updates.
Brilliant.
I have a question. There was a moment.
No, I think it's Paula. She's using. You must be using. Your
Paula.
husband is Paula, because I know Paula from yoga and everything. Yeah, it's
Hi,
Paula. Hi, Paula.
Sorry,
exactly.
I thought I recognised the last name.
Yeah, no, exactly.
So yes, in one of the recent episodes, we had a moment of artificial insemination. I don't think you've seen that yet on Mapperton Live, and I wondered whether that was a bit over the top, and people might not wanted to have seen that sort of thing. I mean, it is what happens in farms. It's not necessarily something that we would promote. That was a tenant farmer doing that. So if we were doing the farming ourselves, as we are with the rewilding, things happen rather more naturally, if I can put it like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I think that might just about be about it.
Emma's just arrived home.
I can hear the sound of children or
William
something.
We'll be having supper soon. Yeah, he's always
so I think at that point we will say goodbye to everybody and thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you all, and thank you for your
patrons.
support and for your patrons and for being patrons and your patronage. And we it's really exciting. There's so many things, like we always say over and over again, and lots more. And we're just excited that you're along for the journey with us. Oh, thanks, Lorraine. Thank you. So wait, let me just read the rest of it. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays. And yeah, bye for now. Bye.
Now, Julie, you think if I click that button?
Oh, yeah. Noah loved the cow episode. Paula's just said her son, Noah. We will have a great weekend. Thank you.